Welcome back to John Cain Arena. Have a look at that view. They are coming in their thousands in what is a massive day of sport here in Melbourne. But that is because the Vixens have been away for the last couple of weeks. And the Melbourne Vixens fans love their Melbourne Vixens. And that is why they are here today. And they know that this game is not an easy one. When you're coming up against a side that has been searching for its first win of the season and then eventually finds it. The Queensland Firebirds head down from the north to take on these ladies on your screen. The Melbourne Vixens, they're sitting fifth on the ladder, the Melbourne Vixens, dropping outside the four. But a win here today could see them head back to a territory I think that they are far more comfortable with. Katie Thwaites, welcome. Looking forward to calling this one with you. How much nerve sits with the Melbourne Vixens at the moment, knowing that they've got to find a victory?
They definitely do have to find a victory, but we've got to keep in mind that they've had 3 one-goal games so far this season. So the fact that they have been well and truly in the contest, especially last week, the week before, obviously an 11-goal loss to the Thunderbirds. So they know that they've got to get back on the winners on that winning list.
Queensland Firebirds, there's your Woolworths lineup. Katie, just another one for us, please.
Well, the Woolworths lineup here, obviously you've got that little shift in the midcourt, but they're starting with the same starting lineup that they had success with last week. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a little shimmy in the midcourt with some changes.
And our Woolworths team cards for the Melbourne Vixens. And we highlight the Watson-Maloney combination simply because it is superb.
It is superb, but the change in the Vixens lineup here, Jo Weston is swinging across to that wing defence position, Emily Mannix at goal defence and Liv Lewis at goalkeeper, obviously with no Kate Eddy in the lineup today.
Yeah, out with a minor injury, that's all we know. Nothing further from the Melbourne Vixens on the injury of Kate Eddy. Keep your eyes on Olivia Lewis, an enormous game from her last week. She was nothing short of spectacular. 3 intercepts and 6 deflections she had, and gets herself a nod in the starting 7. Look at those 2 little cuties. Do you know who they are? That's Sarah Jones from Fox Footy, her 2 children in Miller and Hayley. How cool. So the Fox family getting all amongst it in the netball as the Melbourne Vixens will get us underway here at John Cain Arena. It is the opening game of round 7, and the Vixens trying to find a win as Kira Austin heads directly to her partner in crime in Maui Kumwenda on the board.
Being made to work for it, the Vixens off that first centre pass, getting held up on that transverse line just as the Vixens are doing to the Firebirds right here.
Queensland Firebirds, 3 quarters they won last week, so that'll give them some real confidence as Moore goes directly into Wallam. Emily Moore also impressing last week with her start. And Ruby Bakewell-Doran gets the first little moment for the Firebirds. Terrific first ball contest.
Little tip enough to get that through the hands of Kira Austin. And we see that, a nice early look from Moore straight into Danelle Wallam.
Katie Thwaites, they have the same confidence that they started last week with, the Firebirds.
Absolutely, they do, and that goes to show the fact that they're willing to look early and give that ball into Danelle. So we see the Vixens just put on a nice little box and come up with the turnover, Sue.
Yeah, the foot was out of court by Moore. So Melbourne Vixens in to attack Austin again. Ball early. Weston starting in at wing defence. We've seen her there before, not often.
Beautiful feed, just finding Kumwenda. So we see a first miss and a good tussle from Camo.
The ball lands back into the Vixens, so a nervous start for the home side. 2 misses, 1 off Kumwenda and 1 off Austin. And the Firebirds, another chance here. Bakewell-Doran, Dunkley, well, she was there. They delayed the release.
Liv Lewis was hunting, that's why Sue just saw a little bit of a threat and thought twice about it.
Vixens again, so a little untidy in this first couple of minutes. Again, they last met round 8 of last year and it was goal for goal just about the whole way. 2 goals in the end to the Vixens. Austin. Challenge at the top of the circle. Maloney to set the play in motion. Look at that back space for Kumwenda, keeps it in.
A huge flick in, and Jo Weston making sure that she's still on that transverse line, ready for anything that spills out.
Well, the Queensland Firebirds defence are definitely giving the Melbourne Vixens shooters something to think about. Harvey Norman replay there, just showing you why. Great second phase depth off the ball. A 3-ball play needs a finish from Kumwenda. And there's the first bit of confidence from the Melbourne Vixens.
And for me, it was the speed of that release on that second phase. Nice quick. The defenders don't have a lot of time to be able to get in there and defend that.
Moore again. Well, there's the game plan. Sight Wallen and find the executed pass into her. So all tied up at 3 apiece. Maddie Brown joining us on the sideline. Maddie, welcome to the game.
Thank you, Sue. I just wanted to make a comment on the Firebirds attack then. You see Emily Moore hanging out and they're really having that isolation of Danielle Wallen in the circle. It'd be great to see her get in there sweeping sometimes, not just being a third feeder at the front. So finding that balance of obviously being a feeder, but also getting those defenders' head moving, because the Vixens are sitting pretty in their box and that double defence back.
And it's a box that's got a decent bit of height to it out the front with Joe Weston in at wing defence. So Gardner, our Telstra player to watch in at centre. And there's that high release from Dunkley. So again, the Firebirds from last week where they found Danielle Wallen some 51 times doing just this.
Have a look at that Harvey Norman replay. Beautiful timing of Danielle Wallen to move off that hold once the ball was falling into that space.
Take from Austin, works with Kumwenda. And lovely little feed from Lizzie Watson. Some good vision in to find her goal attack. Liz Watson, the captain of the Melbourne Vixens. Some questions from Maddie Brown in our opener, whether or not Liz Watson is in the form that we're so used to seeing. She might be able to answer that by the end of this game, Maddie. Moore. Wallen out with nowhere to go, so smothered by the Melbourne Vixens.
Absolutely smothered, and the lead just from Macy Gardner right on top of where she was standing, so nowhere to be able to deliver that quick one. The Vixens transitioning the ball down court in the hands of Liz Watson. Beautiful big fake from Kumwenda.
Kumwenda. Nice reach out. This will be a comfortable position for her. She's readjusted the shot now. After that first one fell slightly short. So the Vixens take a break here, 6-4. Here's the 5-6 from Kumwenda, 1 from 2 for Austin. 2-on-1 inside the circle. And Kumwenda again. So Melbourne Vixens a little bit of rhythm here. Simone McInnes, the head coach on your right of screen for the Melbourne Vixens. We'll be expecting a far better performance from her side at home.
Love that drive down court from Macy Gardner. When Kim Revellion is in centre, she receives a lot of that second phase ball for the Firebirds. So obviously without her in that position, Macy Gardner needing to get herself down into the attack end nice and quickly. The congestion at the top of the circle. The roll was there. It was there about half an hour ago. Watson wouldn't let the ball go. Pushes Austin a bit further away from the post, but doesn't worry the Diamond squad member. Here are Austin, confidence to shoot. The Firebirds. Gardner, well, covered by Weston. We see this little box set up again. The two Vixens defenders back on the huge threat of Danielle Wallen.
Clever stuff by Emily Moore, wasn't it? Just to try and draw the defence. She drew both of them. So the Firebirds need to find a turnover here to stay within range early of this Melbourne Vixens. Mikamo, the contact at the top of the circle. So Ruby Bakewell-Doran here. The job, Kumwenda. Look at the penalties early.
Contact, goalkeeper.
Another penalty going to the Firebirds.
Big breath in from Kumwenda. We quite often see that just to settle herself, get herself into her shooting rhythm.
Well, another 3-ball play for the Queensland Firebirds. Beautiful depth, wasn't it, to Dunkley? So some real confidence here. It's just turning ball over now at the other end. Watson now free.
Contact centre.
I haven't mentioned Rebellion yet. There she is in wing defence. Of course, where she started more of her career, goal defence, then wing defence, eventually onto the centre.
Surely not goal defence at this level.
No.
Level 2, but
at her state league, I remember watching a game where she was in a goal defence. She was very impressive. We saw Ellie Smith move into goal defence for the Swifts. Took an enormous rebound against the Melbourne Vixens, won the game for them. So,
yep. Got to be versatile.
Never say never. So not a lot of defensive moments in the game as yet. You see Wallam 8 straight.
And the Vixens just here trying to get that mismatch off that centre pass. Kira Austin ending up on the wing defence side. Obviously, further down court, that means that they can get that circle.
Well, great vision from Emily Moore just to go straight in. She saw Lewis out hunting. And that's something that Olivia Lewis, Caitlin's going to have to be a little mindful of when the confidence from the Firebirds is to go direct.
I think sometimes you need to do that work of shutting them down first, and then you can go looking. So we see a turnover here for the Firebirds and a very quick transition.
Top of the circle, Dunkley. Important moment, and again, the last time in that exact same position, they were congested by Vixens' defence. So 2 held balls. Melbourne Vixens finding a way to stop their opposition. Now into transition, nothing on forward for Watson. Maloney. Again, look, stuck over this transverse line. The patience, though. Get there, Watson. Like to see advantage played on that. Already the ball called. Austin. Perfect range for the goal attack right in the middle. So the Vixens take their biggest lead of the game, now out by 3, 12-9 over the Firebirds. We're 7 seconds away from the Power 5, a flying first 10 minutes. And a tactical timeout, a HCF one for Simone McInnes. I guess that would just simply be to set up what's about to unfold in this first 5 minutes. Do they go the super shots or not? Let's listen in.
Let's give that first one that's on, because we're looking for something better. When it's on, let it go. But I think we're also, Liv, I think we're sort of waiting for somebody else to make the move when we're bringing it down court. So read off each other, staggered options, keep that change of direction, but give that easy one. Let's get the hands over quicker on this when it's up on that centre pass. But also get the eyes up early, because they're letting it go quickly.
Let's go. Bring it in. We've got 5 minutes here. Yeah. What are we doing in D? I think we should get the running down still. One-on-one accountability, and we're going to push into the pockets so they can't get them to any work in attack. Work rate's got to go up. Yes. Change in direction, confident in each other to let it go. Push here. Big something. 1, 2, 3, big. Let's go, girls.
So no reason they shouldn't be up and about. The Melbourne Vixens leading by 3. Izzy Watson moving along nicely, sitting on 26 miss and net points, 7-goal assists to her name, 5 centre pass receives, 11 feeds. So we beg the question where the form was. Well, she's put her hand up early, hasn't she, in this opening quarter. 5 minutes and 7 seconds to unfold. Queensland Firebirds will get us back underway with the centre pass. Don't forget, Firebirds fan Danelle Wallam last week, 4 from 4 on the super shot with unbelievable confidence to take them. Does she do that early here? Moore straight in. Katie, straight away I'm going to ask you on this. So 3 times in this opening quarter, the Vixens have dropped back the double on Danelle Wallam, and still the feed has gone straight back through.
It shows the absolute confidence that they have in Danelle Wallam to take that ball, doesn't it? And the fact that she's finding a body to eliminate one of the defenders, the ball can still go in over the top of the other defender. So she's doing a really great job, and I'm sure the Vixens will start doing some different styles of defence to try and stop that.
Maddie, you're inside the Firebirds huddle. Beck Bully confident early.
Well, she praised that exactly that you were talking about, that high release, that quick sighting and let it go. She said to Noel, great takes, keep pulling it in really, really strong. What she did say out the front is that we're catching them with bodies on, so a little bit more prelim work in the attack end. In defence, watch the defenders and the timing of their jump going a little bit too early, so wants them to pause, and then maybe have a crack at a rejection at the ball.
So a chance for Emily Moore to take the super shot, but no, they'll go the road through Wallam. She hasn't missed a goal yet in the ones, 11 straight for her. They're causing contact on Gardner as Lizzie Watson hit the floor, so we'll get that cleaned up. Take a look at it on our Harvey Norman replay.
Just getting the legs tangled there, yeah, on the replay. Obviously, the two players, the feet getting all mixed up in the direction they were trying to get to. Kira Austin takes a look at her first, and Remy Carmo comes up with that rejection, exactly what Maddie Brown was talking about.
So the confidence needs the reward at the other end. Bottom of your screen, impressive. Moore up through the middle. Well, it's been a contact call, so it'll be brought into the circle. So almost to a disadvantage, wasn't it? Because the feed went in under the post. Doesn't matter for the Firebirds, they get there in the end. And off the HCF tactical timeout called by the Vixens. They are making their way back until that.
Emily Mannix with the pick up there.
Vixens, there's Mannix and Watson. This is where they've been held up, but they get across this line a little easier on long court transition. Wender, super shot zone, doesn't like it. Lakewell Doran's defence was good. So they play it safe, the Melbourne Vixens, and hold on to their 2-goal lead. Just over 2.5 to play.
Joe Weston with the centre pass receive, and I think that's something that missing Kate Eddy out there on court today. She does so much work in the Vixens attack, so Joe Weston, Emily Mannix both going to have to pick up the way that they're attacking the ball through for the Vixens, as we see another nice deep ball into the pocket for the Firebirds. Emily Moore with the sweep and a really nice easy offload.
One back to the Firebirds, and a chance to level the score or even take a lead if Wallam wants to get confident. Well, she does. She goes straight to the post, and like last week, she finishes in the same form. The first Suncorp super shot for Danelle Wallam, and the Firebirds hit the front. A minute 30 to play in this opening quarter. Maloney has to swing to the pocket. Watson quick to get on with it. She pushes. Kunwenda now at the other end. Super shot for her. Well, you can tell by the crowd, they like that one.
They needed it, didn't they? If they had have missed that and lost the rebound, the Firebirds could have gone down and made them pay. Danelle Wallam just out on leads here.
Minute to play out here. Again, we mentioned the Firebirds won 3 of 4 quarters last week against the Giants. Oh, look at that. Danelle Wallam says, I felt good. Just not on that one. So she took the risk. Doesn't land, though, in the hands of her teammate, but they get it back through a wayward ball. So they're putting the Melbourne Vixens under pressure here. Gardner at the top. Wallam again. Makes the smarter of the two options, and then they go, well, they have been practicing that, surely.
Definitely, they have been practicing that. Look, it's a little offload, and
not to be for Wallam. Well, you back her in with confidence. She's got to keep going. She'll continue to miss the one she doesn't make, and the Melbourne Vixens fly through court at the other end. And just on the knock of the siren, slot in a one and head to the break with their nose in front. So a great battle unfolding here as the Vixens take a 2-goal lead at the quarter-time break.
Welcome back to John Cain Arena, where the Vixens lead the Firebirds by 2 points. It is Heritage Round for the Melbourne Vixens, and no one better to speak to than a legend of the game, Sherelle McMahon. You're upstairs catching up with some old folk. Are you actually talking about netball success, or are we talking about the antics off the court?
Mostly the antics off the court, let's be honest. I mean, it's such a great way to celebrate the history of the sport in this amazing state of ours, and both the teams coming together. There's so many great friendships and awesome stories.
I mean, I'm sure you're talking about the legacies that you last played, but what do the Vixens need to do here today? They've struggled to get some wins on the board. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I mean, they've started really well today, haven't they? And I think it's been, a bit disrupted for them this season, but I've got full faith in the team that's out there that they'll be able to get the job done today.
Thank you for joining us, Sherelle, and back to you, Sue.
Good on you, Maddie. Yeah, that's Sherelle McMuffin, affectionately known as Sherelle McMuffin. Sarah, our producer, needs to learn that. That was our quarter-time Origin Energy break. Great to have the past players here from the Kestrels and Phoenix days. I'm sure they'll be celebrating well on into the evening, particularly if their Melbourne Vixens can get across the line here today. They lead by 2, 17-15. As we head into the second quarter, they swap ends. An impressive Firebirds opening quarter, though. Now Wallam 13 straight. And certainly attempting the super shots.
Contact, send a third.
A little messy off the opening. Centre pass. Again, Watson back. So they really have had to find some patient work to get across this transverse line, Katie.
They definitely have, and we heard Simone McInnes, though, asking the players to release the ball to the first option. She thought that in that first quarter, some of the time, they're looking for something better, and then that option actually passes them by.
Emily Moore, well, I tell you now, needed to be pulled in by Wallam. It was there and eventually finds her way back to Moore, and then the repeated effort from Wallam along the baseline caught Liv Lewis napping. Wow, this Queensland Firebirds side, it's hard to imagine that they have only won one game this season, the way in which they're playing.
They've been so close on quite a few occasions. We see Carmo just come up with a turnover for the Firebirds.
Remy Carmo starting to have some impact early in this quarter. Speaking of the first quarter, Nissa net points. Standout Liz Watson sitting on 36. Best on court. Gardner hits the centre. Lovely release, likes it, slams the hands together. And the Firebirds come out with some real confidence in the second quarter. Beck Bully enjoying what she's seeing. Moore. Oh, Dunkley, Falcon.
Seems to be a little bit of a slippery spot at the top of that circle. Dunkley just slipping on it as we see the ball spray over the back.
A couple of loose hands, I reckon, from Wallam. Interesting to see if they continue to go long on the next approach. In the meantime, how slick was that from the Melbourne Vixens?
An absolute training drill. The ball speed, understanding from each other of knowing exactly where they were going to be.
As a coach, and you just saw, Simone McInnes then in terms of body language, just sat up in the chair a little bit. You love watching your side connect like that.
Absolutely. It's such a pretty thing to watch when you've done the pre-work beforehand. You can just let the ball go. You don't need to wait for somebody. The ball flows and it is pretty to watch.
Ball on a string, 3 goals the difference. And now a break, so the Firebirds a missed opportunity and the Vixens a chance to punish. Weston pauses, finds Austin. Into the pocket, so there's the release McInnes is looking for. And then Kumwenda had to think about it, but went straight to the post and falls short, and the hustle for the rebound. Well, fairly important. Firebirds there missing an opportunity to block out. 21-14, have a look at this. Harvey Norman replay just showing a little switch-off moment from the Firebirds' defence.
Kumwenda actually sitting 4th for offensive rebounds in the league, so she does gather quite a few of those. Big contest from Kim Revaliant on Liz Watson there.
Kumwenda, little trip, have to get the ball away quickly and does. Mannix to the line, through the middle, and an outside arm from Bakewell. Doran keeps it in play. Who gets to it? Oh, well, it was the Vixens, and then another scrappy moment. So the hands have been a little bit astray. Lovely outside arm, though, wasn't it? Here's your last 10. So little runs of momentum
Goal attack.
for both sides. Gardner, strong take under pressure from Weston.
Defense obstruction. Circle edge.
So the ball back to Gardner, and then takes exactly the same road.
Goal defense. That's it. Obstruction. Both players.
Love to get down to Maddie Brown. And Maddie, you've fed a number of goalers in your time. How important is it to have strong hands in the take? You've seen a long ball again there into Danelle Wallen, but the last few have hit her hands and fallen out.
Well, it's just even like the confidence of the feeder to know that they can continue to release it and it's not going to get tipped away, because sometimes it puts doubt in that pass. So you have to go up strong with two hands. You've got to at least contest strong and let the umpire make that call if there's a nice tight contest. But at least if you've got two hands on it, you can pull it down and make it your own, or at least have that structure. A great defence there, as you see. The coaches of the Queensland Firebirds getting up, getting amongst it. They love to see that hand on the ball and that turnover there from Remy Camo.
Yeah, some real pressure from the Queensland defence. So now to make their way through a hustling Melbourne Vixens in Joe Weston. She gets the contact call, but she's set the tone, hasn't she? Moore, Dunkley right on top, and Mannix. Lovely cross-court anticipation. Almost could have got two hands to it, you wonder.
And the Vixens, again, just sitting off in that box, both defenders, and it pays dividends for them. Coming up with the turnover.
Vixens now through Maloney, and again, well, she fakes to Austin, and Austin rolled her eyes. She wants the ball. They won't release it. Very interesting moment. Austin into the pocket. Maui can win it. Well, she shoots this one, and it'll be goal number 2,900 for her. So congratulations, she's number 3 ranked for most goals scored. So well done to Kumwenda.
Just have a look at the goals from gains on the screen there. One of the areas the Firebirds will want to start picking up a little bit.
Go in, Vixens.
Well, I'm going to call it again. So Liz Watson sided Austin and wouldn't release it, and then eventually does. Bakewell Doran gets a hand to it. The eye contact between Austin and Liz Watson, frustration. Well, this is really interesting. Kira Austin is there. They won't let the ball go to her.
Well, obviously, Liz Watson, something that she's seen, she's not confident on. So whether it's Kira Austin's timing or whether Bakewell Doran's just giving enough doubt that Kira Austin's in front enough for that ball to be released. So Bakewell Doran doing a good job already to disrupt that connection.
Well, so is Liv Lewis at the other end. Real confusion in terms of her footwork around Wallen. Wayward ball. So Melbourne Vixens here. We're blow for blow in this second quarter. Plenty of uncharacteristic errors like that one on cue. Weston straight into the hands of Moore. And then the high ball into Wallen. So a good return for the Queensland Firebirds halfway through the second. They level up the quarter time score at 6 apiece. And they force a HCF tactical timeout of the Melbourne Vixens. They lead by 2 though. But I think we need to pay real attention here to this attack line and what's been transpiring in this lack of confidence to let the ball go, even though the coaches asked for it.
Preliminary moves, remember? We're getting in this running race.
Yeah, I think it's a bit timing with you two on that long court, because one of you should be able to just pop over and come over the line. They've got to have a big plan to have an option. But they're in great ball. They're in great ball. Can we take our feet to the ball? It's like we're lunging for these loose ones. Strong onto everything, strong take. Some great ball movement at times then when we let it go, and some great defence. Let's push on and make it closer.
HCF tactical timeout. Exactly what we thought that they would be discussing, the confidence to let it go. Kate Maloney there at the end, just reiterating exactly what Simone McInnes was asking. Feeling like the attackers are getting drawn up high sometimes on that transition play, so hopefully they can sort that out. And as we see another fumble, Bakewell-Doran there to pick up the crumbs.
Well, it's an intriguing start to every little moment, be it a centre pass at the beginning of a quarter or outside a tactical timeout. There's been fumbles. Look at this. Wow, interesting. Let's get down to Maddie, who's inside the Queensland Firebirds huddle.
Well, you called it, Sue, and Beck Bully was sensing there was a bit of frustration in the Vixens camp, and she said keep riding them, keep being up there in their grill, get up under their bodies and keep making them earn every single passing defence. She spoke a lot to the attack end, talking about the angles, making sure that there was backup on the line from the wing defence and goal defence. Oh, as Liz Watson gets an attacking contact. Can I throw back to you guys? Do you sense there's a bit of frustration in just the Vixens attacking? They want to release it, they don't want to release it. As you see that Harvey Norman replay.
I think there's probably a little bit of trying. You know, how do they go about trying? Do they try harder? Do they run harder? For me, it's about using the skill level and the appropriate time to be using each individual skill. So rather than just digging in there and running harder, obviously cleaning up a player on that occasion, it's not the answer.
Very interesting stuff. I just think it's a side that's lost confidence in the last 2 weeks, and they'll eventually find their rhythm. The Melbourne Vixens, they're too good, but at the moment, it may need a positional change. Who knows? We've got Hannah Mundy sitting on the bench. In the meantime, it's all about the Queensland Firebirds attack. They've taken the lead and struggling to find a solution on Danelle Wallam, who is yet to miss a goal at 22 straight, and takes her side now 2 goals ahead. So a real swing here in this second quarter. From Wenda was waiting in the backspace. Maloney. There's the quick 1-2. Well needed, draws the contact.
We're not quite at contract.
No, well, yeah, I hope we get there. On Remy Carmo. So look at the Nissan Net Points match leader. Well, our Telstra player to watch, Macy Gardner, sitting right at the top on 46. And exactly where, as Liv Lewis hustles hard for the rebound, exactly where she was last week.
And the Vixens just getting held up here again. The attackers ending up quite high, which then leaves this void in the backspace.
Speaking of backspace, used by Kate Maloney. Power 5 in play. And we tie the score up once again, 25 apiece. Vixens having to work backwards here. Mannix under pressure, keeps ball in play. And then Austin just sneaking around the corner of Watson. So a better approach for the home side. 17 from 20 for Kumwenda. And here go the Melbourne Vixens, led by their defensive end, finding ball. 3-1 the intercepts. That's the first one, though, for the Vixens. Plenty of deflections and rebounds amongst it, though. Patience. Kumwenda out, so the circle is open. And how open was it? Well, it was home alone open, and it needed the finish from Kira Austin. Gee, the frustrating moments when a shooter misses one right under the post.
As we see Mia Stour just take the court and a very quick offload to get her hands onto the ball. Quick rotation from the Firebirds shooters.
Emily Moore doing a terrific job, though, while she was on the court. Plenty of work out the front of Wallam. Stour now comes on, maybe to keep Melbourne Vixens guessing when it comes to a double super shot threat. Dunkley, G, thought about it to Wallam.
Contact, goal defenders to grab. In the one, come forward half a step. That's it.
Strong take, Stour to Wallam.
Goal.
So again, we just go blow for blow, 27 apiece. Austin, lovely dodge to lose Bakewell-Doran.
And a better release then from Liz Watson in the connection there as we see another shot missed, and Remy Carmo come up with the rebound.
It was a strong one, wasn't it, Katie? Had to go right up through the middle of a mess. So a missed super shot attempt from Kumwenda, and another big rebound by the Firebirds. Dunkley flying. Rebellion sending through court. And then the approach. So the Queensland one thing you can say about the Queensland Firebirds at the moment is off the back of last week, they have belief in their capabilities.
They really do, and obviously it's been a hard start to the season for them, but having that little bit of joy off the back of the win as well, getting out there, enjoying that, riding on that feeling, plays a lot into the confidence of what the Firebirds are putting out there today.
Suncorp super shot dropping. And Ruby Bakewell-Doran, well, into the backspace, and she was there and ready for it. So the Firebirds go again now, leading by 3. Contest, and look at the hustle for the ball, Watson and Rebellion.
You can see Kim Borgia over on the side.
Contact wing.
Starting to bib up. She's walking into that box. Kira Austin coming off the court behind play here.
Well, Kira Austin goes off and Kim Borgia steps on, so came in to replace a number of times, hasn't she, for the Melbourne Vixens over the years. Replaced Maui Kumwenda. Of course, this time, Rani Samuson, been overplaying with Team Bath, can shoot, and comes on with real confidence. Let's have a look at her. Borgia. Sight that, look at the last 10 and another turnover. So the Firebirds defence all over this. They are posing questions to the Melbourne Vixens.
What a strong pass. Macy Gardner did her best. A little bit of frustration there, thinking she might have got a shove, but the Vixens come up with it.
Yeah, in the first quarter, I tell you, that was all about the attack. This quarter's been all about scraps, mess, and a lot of defensive moments. Back and forth through court. Borgia, Maloney, strong take. 19 seconds. Plenty of time. Borgia into the 1. Oh, off court from Maui Kumwenda. So things continue to unfold for the Melbourne Vixens. A chance, they'll have to be going quick, long, big and ambitious.
Contact,
I was going to say a contact, but it would have been against Wallam. So the halftime siren goes, and that quarter was all about the Queensland Firebirds, so much so they won it by 7 goals, 17-10, and they set themselves up with a formidable lead at this halftime break against a very impressive Melbourne Vixens who have yet to lose at home this season. 32-27 the score. Let's get down to Maddie Brown with a very impressive Queensland Firebirds defender.
She is. This one is impressing very much in this first half. Let's go to the start of the week. Obviously, diamond selection. How are you feeling after having that kind of off your back now?
Oh, I'm so grateful. I mean, I've just been trying to put in so much hard work in the first few rounds. Hasn't always come off. Like, we lost a few, but we got a good win last week, so feeling very stoked about it, yeah.
Now, back to this first half. There's been some scrapping for those loose balls. What is impressing you about your defensive unit?
Oh, I just think everyone's so connected. Like, we want to win ball, everyone's in the right spot, and everyone's going for it. It's great.
And that confidence from last week, we can see that you're playing with it. What needs to continue for the second half to keep on top of the Vixens?
We're just going to keep getting around each other. Like, when we're connected, when we're chatting, communicating out on court, and obviously we're in a hostile crowd, so really celebrating everything.
Well, hopefully you can keep it going. You're doing so well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Back to you, Sue.
Thanks, Maddie. Ruby Bakewell-Doran sitting on 49 Nissan net points, 2 intercepts and 2 deflections to her name at the moment, moving along very, very nicely. Don't forget, up next, we've got our first half review in our halftime show. And then if you've got nothing to do, which you don't on a Saturday night, it is all about what comes up next. That is the action continuing after this match at Ken Rosewell Arena, where the Giants take on the Swifts in the biggest game of the round. The New South Wales Derby coming to you right after this game. At half-time, It's the Firebirds with their foot down. They lead the Melbourne Vixens 32-27. Welcome back to our halftime show as the players hit the change rooms, and there's a fairly, I don't know, like somber Melbourne Vixens. I guess they're getting their instructions from their coach in Simone McInnes, but at the other end, this should be a fairly happy Firebirds camp, girls, you would imagine, because they just had a dominating second quarter, a 17-10 goal second quarter for the Queensland Firebirds.
I'll be going, you know what, that's working for us. One thing I did notice from the bench was the coaches saying, take the 1 point, let's not push too far ahead to the 2 unless we desperately need to.
Emily Moore was good, but she gets rotated on for Stour. I guess that's just showing the depth now of this Queensland Firebirds attack.
Yeah, and we saw that happen last week as well. Stour, for me, actually, usually it hits the board more on the goal assists than what Emily Moore does. Emily Moore, usually, for me, is actually hitting the scoreboard a little bit more. So if Emily's back on there for the start of the second half, I would like to see her hit the scoreboard a little bit more. Stour, obviously, she turns and sights and delivers to Wallam.
All right, let's take a look at the halftime match summary. And with a 5-goal lead the way of the Firebirds, I just have to draw my eyes straight to the top, Maddie. 91% to the Melbourne Vixens 79.
We all know that you've got to be shooting over that 90% to be in the contest in Suncorp Super Netball games. But they're not that far off the Vixens. So if that's what they're obviously delivering, and we know that they've got so much more, if they can get back to their structures and start executing, Katie, they should come out firing in the second half.
Yeah, and I think, look, obviously the gains there, Firebirds a couple more gains, but the conversion off the gains for me, Firebirds are sitting at 78% conversions, whereas the Vixens sitting at 50%.
Well, it's going to be an interesting second half, isn't it? One lady that I think can really play a part, not that she hasn't already in the first half, but I figure if she can continue her form in the second half, the Firebirds could get the win, and that is Ruby Bakewell-Doran. Maddie, you just spoke to her. She's been in and amongst everything.
She has, and she spoke about that level of confidence and being able to play as a unit. I think they'd been struggling to obviously find their way, but she's a real leader down that defence end. We haven't seen a lot of her in this competition, but she is controlling it. She's obviously talking to them. She's saying working on to the hands over the ball. And when Beck Buller came and said, just adjust that timing, instantly they got obviously a rejection. So continue to see those arms and legs flying everywhere for the Queensland Firebirds.
Katie, just quickly, you said the Vixens at the start. Are you backing in your call?
Or if they put out exactly what they did in that half, the Firebirds will take it. But let's not discount probably a wounded Vixens team after that first half.
Very true, and at home, and we keep saying they haven't lost at home so far this season. All right, Suncorp competition time, folks. Why is netball important to you, and what does the game mean to you? Brought to you by Suncorp. We'd like you to submit your entry in 50 words or less, along with a video or image of you and your club to foxsports.com.au/Suncorp, or scan the QR code on the screen for your chance to win a family membership to the Suncorp Super Netball Club of your choice in the 2024 season. Now, here is Alyssa Reed's entry. Netball is extremely important to her because it helps her make new friends, keeps her fit, and she absolutely loves meeting awesome people all the time. Well, I think she might be awesome as well, as she's there with Maddie Proud and Sophie Dwyer. Well, there you go, folks. The second half still to come. It's a big one. Can the Firebirds hold on and get their second win of the season, or do the Melbourne Vixens find another gear? Don't go anywhere. Right after the break here on Fox Netball, our opening game of round 7 still to unfold. Well, the Melbourne Vixens under some pressure here in their home game, round 7, trailing the Queensland Firebirds by 5 after leading by 2 at the quarter-time break. Queensland Firebirds a win last week and love the winning feeling, so they're going to hope that they can hold on in the second half. You get the feeling, though, the Melbourne Vixens too good a side not to find some solutions and challenge for the win. Terrific to have the head coach of the Melbourne Vixens in Simone McInnes joining us. Thanks, Simone. A tough couple of weeks on the road. Of course, you know you like to win at home, but not necessarily a great first attacking half for you. I felt like the disconnect was really obvious.
It was, and certainly we lacked the dynamic movement and reading off each other. So hopefully we see that improve across this second half.
How do the girls get that confidence back to be able to release that ball, Simone? We heard you talking about just being able to turn and give that first one. You felt like they were holding on to it.
They were holding on to it, but I just said to them at half-time, gosh, if you're going to be fumbling the ball, but you would hesitate to give it to them. You've got to be strong and definite in the movement. You've got to have confidence in each other, which there were patches in that first half, which were. But I think it comes back to that dynamic movement, the reading the space and options at the ball.
And we see that you've done a little shuffle of the mid-court here with Hannah Mundy coming on Liz into the centre. What are you hoping that to be able to bring out on court?
I think Hannah is really great at getting depth and finding and utilising the space in that attack end, and she's a great ball handler as well. So I think we needed something different down there.
All right, Simone, get back to doing what you do best. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Simone McInnes, the head coach of the Melbourne Vixens, needs to find some solutions here, doesn't she, amongst her side to try and generate some ball to be won and find their way back. And it's all about now really connecting at the attack and trying to stop the confidence. It's not just Janelle Wallen, but the confidence of the Queensland Firebirds feeding her.
Absolutely, and we see, obviously, with that mid-court change comes Jo Weston slipping back into her more familiar position of goal defence. So I wonder if that will have some kind of an effect and slowing the ball down and the big hands over that feed going in as well.
So the Melbourne Vixens find a goal. As Liv Lewis comes out hunting, well, only just slightly mistimed it. Maybe that puts a little bit of fear into the Queensland Firebirds. Let's get down to Maddie Brown.
What I'm finding with the Vixens attack, when they keep it low and short and sharp to post, they're a lot more successful. It's the feed for me. It's elevated too high on the shooter's head. It needs to drop in front, which is where obviously Bakewell Dawn and Carmo are getting those little tips. So keeping it low and in at the guts, as we all know, Katie, I would think that's a better, obviously, solution to post for the Vixens.
Give it in the guts.
In the guts. Love it. Great coaching terminology. hour remaining on the court after she came on in the latter part of that second quarter. Emily Moore went to the bench. So all eyes on the adjustments here for the Melbourne Vixens. 33 from 34 to Wallam. Defensively, that's who they've got to stop. Liz Watson. Patience, good fake at the front and finds Kumwenda at the back.
And a better build-up to circle edge for the Vixens then. Just that nice, easy, not panicked, not having to do overly a huge amount of work to work it in there, which creates that frustration.
And the 29-year-old continues, doesn't she? Wallam at the post. I heard her say in the opener that she's started to understand what her role is in the absence of Gretel Tippett or Gretel Buetta. Mundy. Well, neither of those balls have been in the guts, but they certainly have been better placed into the Vixen shooters.
And the timing for me, Sue, of the release of that ball, Mundy just holding onto it, waiting to get rid of that defender.
Oh, Lewis! Oh, gee, the footwork before that moment, sorry, Katie, was impressive to cause doubt and hesitation.
Let's look at the Harvey Norman replay.
Wow.
Amazing to be able to cover the ground to get out there for that. And you know what? It might put some doubt in their minds the next time.
How good was the camera work on that? Liv Lewis will want to pop that in. And all young defenders out there, keep your eyes on Lewis's footwork.
A clear set play here from the Firebirds. Lara Dunkley just signalling, let's go back. And Dunkley getting that depth on second phase. Liv Lewis coming up with a huge rebound.
So she's come out of the half-time, Lewis, with some confidence, trying to get her side into the thick of it, and then that's the last thing she'll want. Throw the ball straight into the hands of the Firebirds, who return with a goal.
Another look at that rebound. Bakewell-Doran coming up with another one.
Bakewell-Doran is in everything.
And the seesawing effect of this turnover after turnover. Beautiful baseline drive from Kira Austin. Finding that timing, getting into the post.
So a quick first 5 minutes, wasn't it? And the Firebirds, gee, Liv Lewis, well, one is coming very, very soon. Lewis getting a little fingertip to that. You get the feeling the timing is about to come her way. Mundy, awkward land.
Contact advantage offside.
Well done to keep her feet and get that feed off. Liz Watson just going that high road over to Kumwenda, and a little misunderstanding of who was going to pick that ball up. Turnover from the Vixens.
So the Queensland Firebirds defence continuing to create chaos for the Vixen shooters. Long ball, Gardner, Lewis. Well, that one was late. And Gardner is showing some real distress here. Whether she's been winded, let's take a
We haven't held time.
oh, look, yes.
Injury time yet. Would you like
So Liv Lewis,
whole time injury?
yeah, injury time being called. So Macy Gardner will have to leave the court here, and she looks very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that contest, obviously both her arms up above her head. You know, usually if you can feel that there's a body coming, you protect yourself a little bit, but she was well and truly exposed to the body coming through.
Yeah, interesting, wasn't it? Because I don't want to take anything away from Liv Lewis in the moment as Gabby Simpson will make her way onto the court. Lewis had been out hunting. Her timing just hasn't been right. That one, again, was a little awkward on timing. And unfortunately, the contest sends Gardner to the bench.
And usually you like to pick a different line that you're taking so you're avoiding that body. So either the inside or the outside line for that fly.
So there's the changes on the bottom of your screen. Gardner goes to the bench with 51.5 Nissan net points. So she's certainly been doing the job on court for the Firebirds. And there's the moment that Liv Lewis has been looking for. I tell you what, she's lighting up the defence end for the Vixens and needs the reward.
There we go on the replay there. Amazing work of being able to use that outside arm, getting that tip. And the Vixens needing to reward their defenders.
Watson. Patience. Austin on the cut and drive. It was a late whistle, wasn't it? I think Remy Camo, should I say, actually thought she probably got away with that moment, doesn't. So that's a reward for Liv Lewis's moment down the other end. Did you see Lewis didn't lose the confidence to continue to fly after that clash with Gardner? Is that the spark the Vixens need? Trailing by 8.
Contact, goal defence.
Being able to string a couple together in a row, starting to eat away at this deficit that the Firebirds have created is a really important.
Oh, gee! Lewis again. Well, absolutely was looking for that ball in front position. Liv Lewis doing everything she can for the Melbourne Vixens here. The starting position last week, rewarding the coach again at the moment.
Not a lot of options coming forward for the Vixens here.
The step in from Kumwenda short, but she'll get the rebound. Wasn't a really confident layup, was it? So now Kumwenda, 22 goals from her, and they creep their way back off this moment. A great Harvey Norman replay from Liv Lewis. Wow, interesting, Katie Thwaites. Just feel a little momentum shift here. Of course, it's forced a HCF tactical timeout for the Queensland Firebirds. Halfway through this third quarter, Melbourne Vixens starting to find some ball.
Just a little bit of a timeout, okay, just to change the momentum back into our favour, okay? Nice, calm, composed. We've just had a few changes, so we just need to settle, that's all, okay? They're doubling back onto Nell, so you just got to get in, but wait for her to come in, fake it up, and she'll enter in. Or use your swings as well, okay? Just make sure hard one-on-one out the front, okay? Yeah, good job. The only Kira's getting you on is that baseline drive. Yeah, block that base. Yeah, block it. And I want you to stay front. But then if she does get in front of you, don't give away that penalty. Move your feet around and get in front. Yeah. All right. One more thing. When they run in front of the other, and they're going over.
So a pretty smooth and I guess reassuring conversation, wasn't it, from Beck Bully, Katie?
Definitely not panic stations for the Firebirds, just wanting to stop that little bit of momentum that the Vixens had there, try to get things back in their favour.
Super Netball live ladder on the screen. So the Firebirds leading at the moment. Push their score up to 8. The Melbourne Vixens are lost here. We'll sit them outside the 4 again for a second week.
Obstruction.
Let's get down to Maddie Brown. Maddie, whilst the Melbourne Vixens look like they're coming here, and there's another moment of it off Kira Austin, if the Queensland Firebirds weather this storm, surely that's a sign of growth for them this season.
I definitely think so. It's all about those shared experiences as a team. So when you get yourself in these clutch moments, you know exactly how to respond. I did get to listen into the Vixens huddle, and they spoke about keeping the defenders for the Firebirds out of play. So running your feet onto the ball, change of angle, using those balks, be smart with the ball in hand. And defensively, they're going to shut down that middle channel and keep forcing them wide, so they have to go across court, and Liv Lewis can come out flying still.
Look at that last 5 for the Vixens of the last 10. Make that 6 of the last 10 for the Vixens. Definitely the momentum has shifted.
Absolutely, they're getting a bit of a feel for the line, and it's all been off Liv Lewis's defensive work, hasn't it? Out flying early for the ball, missed a few and then found her way there in the end. Only another one there. So Janelle Wallam certainly has quietened down a little bit this quarter.
But let's look at the Nissan net points there. Bakewell Doran doing a great job out in front.
And Gabby Simpson, well, we spoke in the opener the importance of her coming onto the court and leading with some real fire and passion. Well, we just saw it from the former Firebirds captain. And waiting patiently for the moment. And then the return at the other end from Wallen. So a good moment for the Queensland Firebirds.
That one from Hannah Mundy and the passion from Gabby Simpson slapping her hands together.
It means a lot, doesn't it? You don't train all day, every day, not to get passionate about the game you love.
And this is what we saw Beck Woolley talk about in that tactical timeout. Stour getting into the circle when there's that double defence on Wallen. Need her to start keeping the defenders accountable.
So the power five now in play. Kumwenda, easy approach into the super shot. Gee, a late offload to Mundy. Austin has a look at it, and the Suncorp super shot drops. And an important one, a confident one for the Melbourne Vixens. Back to 4.
Jo Weston! The presence of mind to go straight at the pass, then come off her player. That is so hard to do, Sue.
Well, moments of inspiration coming from the Vixens' defence. First Lewis, now Weston. They are coming, the Melbourne Vixens. Austin calls Mundy forward. There she is.
Needs to be rewarded here, though, from the Vixens.
Step back, 1 step. Back off the circle.
The circle edge, the call from the umpire. Austin, oh, quick offload to Kumwenda. She nearly didn't get it.
Contact and offside.
Just a little shaky on the shot up close, but not from range. And from range. So the Firebirds get out of jail moment, leading by 4. They'd be feeling the pressure.
That was almost a throw and hope from Gabby Simpson to get there. Let's look at that score breakdown. Much closer in this third quarter.
I don't know about you, but I feel like they're missing Stour. Stour, she's on the court as the Melbourne Vixens get it. Emily Moore, I feel like she was doing a lot of work out the front, and that's now not there. Take nothing away from the Melbourne Vixens' defence, though, in stifling the space.
Come forward, it's in the one.
Well, the crowd has been reasonably silent in this first half, and they are just starting to find a little bit of voice and energy.
Liz Watson there leading the goal assists, 18.
2.5 minutes to play. The scoreline tightening. Vixens, they're coming.
Contact advantage offside. Yeah.
Maloney, it's been good trying to shut down Dunkley since moving to wing defence. Austin at the top. Look at the squeeze. Well, Doran thought about it.
Goalkeeper contacted on the body.
Yeah, long super shot. What does Austin do? Surely offloads? No. Confidence. Kira Austin stands up in the moment that's needed. And the Melbourne Vixens drop a super shot and now trail by 1. Firebirds, quick response at the other end. And that's the way to do it. Just keep the scoreboard ticking over. Vixen short through Weston. Swings, close side, Kumwenda on the lead.
Both shooters out here, Sue, needing to get themselves back in there and have that focal point at the post.
Well, all of a sudden, the contest is back, isn't it? Melbourne Vixens, too good a side never to find a way to get back into it. And you can see there in the third quarter, leading at 18-14. It's been all about their defence. And on cue, Liv Lewis. Oh my goodness, Liv Lewis finds a way again. If she isn't becoming a fan favourite. The Melbourne Vixens now through court. Look at the rebound, 7-4. They've been strong and amongst the scraps, the Melbourne Vixens. To Maui Kumwenda at the other end for goal 28. And to level the score with just 40 seconds to go before we head in to the final break. And a caution, Katie.
just delaying that ball back to the centre. Obviously, these dying seconds are so important during the power 5. Players getting a little bit more crafty at wasting some of that time.
Oh, gee, the ball was allowed to play on. The possession was the call to Queensland. And then a wayward pass, so a very messy end here, but a chance for the Melbourne Vixens to get the lead. 12 seconds, plenty of time. High ball in, contest comes from Bakewell Doran, and on the siren, the Melbourne Vixens cruise their way through the third quarter and into the lead as we head into the final break. A 20-14 third quarter performance from the home side, and they lead by 1. Don't go anywhere, folks. Fox Netball, too good. 15 minutes to play. Is it the Vixens or the Firebirds? Don't go anywhere.
Well, we are here at John Cain Arena with a contest on our hands. The Vixens leading the Firebirds by 1 goal. I was in the Vixens camp. Coach McInnes was very impressed. She said in attack, I want more effort, more go at the ball, use those angles, use those spaces. We're going to fight right to the end. In defence, she asked for more pressure. Liv Lewis came into the game in that quarter, and I think she's going to come home strong. Are we going to see the Vixens back at their clinical best for this fourth quarter? Sue? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Oh, well, I expect we would. They've just shown what they're capable of. Our Origin Energy quarter-time break, Katie, you were listening in to the Queensland Firebirds. I want to pose this question to you as you explain to us what was going on. Macy Gardner left the court at around about the 7-minute mark in that quarter, and that's when Lewis came into it, and that's where the Vixens turned the corner. Coincidence or possible reason for the change?
Well, possible reason for the change. Obviously, the quick release that they were finding Danelle, they struggled to find Danelle a little bit more quickly throughout that last bit. But I also think the changes from the Vixens coach has settled their mid-court line. They've been able to work that ball to circle edge. There's less of that confusion between the connections out there.
Mundy and Austin certainly looking like they're a little more comfortable in today's game in attack. So 15 minutes to play. We'll set it up for you again if you're only just joining us. The Queensland Firebirds found their first win of the season last week against the Giants. And the Melbourne Vixens, they've won a couple so far this season. A few, actually. But they are certainly looking for a win in the last couple of weeks. They haven't found one. They like it at home, yet to be beaten on this court.
The defensive change down this end. Bakewell Doran moved across to goalkeeper, and Uni enters the game at goal defence for the Firebirds.
Wow, that's...
That change being made. Beck Woolley just explaining that there was a few too many penalties happening down in that circle.
Well, we'll learn whether or not that's about to pay off, because Ruby Bakewell Doran, for me, was doing an enormous job outside the circle, turning ball over.
And Bakewell Doran, she answers your call there, so goes out and threatens the pocket ball.
From the book of Liv Lewis, wasn't it? So there's your last 10. Melbourne Vixens coming out and having some real fire in the third. It's all about, for me, with the Firebirds, just getting that confidence back to the release to Wallam, which they had in that first half. Again, Emily Moore was a big part of that, as was Macy Gardner. Melbourne Vixens.
Kumwenda out the middle of the circle, finding her way back in there, and a very quick release from Kira Austin. Just a little interplay between the shooters.
Not enough on it from Stour. It was a flat ball, and Lewis again hunting the front position. And Weston. So Vixens' defence starting to find a way to stop a formidable Danelle Wallam and the feed that comes in. Adversely at the other end. Perfect height on that ball to Kumwenda from Lizzie Watson. Wow, Harvey Norman replay. Perfection, Lewis. 52-48. And the Vixens surging forward.
Swing across the circle and the big sweep. Just a little misfire from Mundy. And over the top. See, that's what you miss by taking Carmo off the court, isn't it? She had that height, the ability to get up to that high ball.
Kumwenda 35 from 40. Carmo just icing the face, had taken a knock.
And that's what I would like to see, Sue, is Stour making herself more of a threat in that circle. Obviously, the Vixens defenders doubling back on Danelle a lot of the time. That's only Stour's second time hitting the scoreboard. To draw a defender off, I think she needs to get herself into that circle.
Stour again, that's the release, nice and high, direct to Wallum. And then the miss, though, from Danelle Wallum. There's only been one prior to that moment. They end up with the ball. Stour doing the job. Hanging around the 4 goals.
Both over the line there on that centre pass. Not a lot of options on the second phase ball. Usually we like to see only one across the line there.
Kumwenda, smart in the front space. Just taking Bakewell-Doran out of the equation. So the Melbourne Vixens struggling to find some attacking connections in the first half. You get the feeling that's no longer the problem.
A replay call there. Stour just dropping that one. Oh, Kim Revellion willing herself to get up to that pocket ball.
Quick release from Mundy. Here come the Melbourne Vixens again. So not only did they take the front, they're now pushing this scoreline out. They've opened the quarter unbelievably well, 9-4. Not that I know the Queensland Firebirds inside out, but for me, this change has not worked. It's just too easy. Carmo, I thought she was, irrespective of penalties, was creating enough confusion.
A lot of that movement around the body that Carmo creates, I think, is that confusion of the release point into Kumwenda. We've seen that release nice and quick into Kumwenda in this last little period. So let's take a listen to the Firebirds, see if the changes happen.
At the moment, we're running to the sidelines, okay? We've got one option. We need to have 2 options. If it's not on, we go back to this reset, okay? Let's make sure we play smart, calm, composed, our options, all right? Defensively, if we see it, go for it. Back yourself. We've got nothing to lose, okay? Be front, test, okay? Defend to that shot, okay? Everyone on your play around the circle edge, okay?
HCF tactical timeout, and the changes have been rung in, and it almost makes us sound like we know what we're talking about. Remy Carmo back with the goalkeeper, Emily Moore in to goal attack. My concern is maybe that's going to be a little too late. We'd love to have seen it early, but we'll back it in and see what happens as the Queensland Firebirds will get us underway, trailing by 7. They're 10-4 down this quarter. Let's get across to Maddie Brown inside the Vixens.
Yeah, the Vixens were really happy with how they've been able to push ahead, but we've seen them allow in other games the opposition time to come back in. So this is a real crunch moment for the Vixens to go, you know what? Now's our time to put the foot down and try and build on that lead. They were saying keep fighting for the ball in attack and keep building that pressure in defence. Clinical Vixens, 101, addressing their centre pass and addressing their structures. They're back to some of their best form they were up and about.
Yeah, good on you, Maddie. That's a very good insight. Simone McInnes hasn't really changed facial expression this entire game. Vixens find themselves 7 up.
Composed, cool, calm and collected coach, isn't she?
So Moore back onto the court and takes the first goal. Interesting to see what she can bring to the attack end for the Firebirds. In the meantime, this is where they'll need to find ball in a very clinical Melbourne Vixens attack it's turned into, hasn't it, as this game has unfolded.
Just on that last ball, Macy Gardner dove on that loose ball there, looking like she needs to come off. Firebirds just fiddling with the bibs on the sideline. Gardner just rucks up another.
Well, now, oh, gee,
Another
to the
goal
left.
assist.
Yeah, a left and then to the middle. And Macy Gardner has just indicated to the umpire injury time. And it's definitely her wrist. You can see it's heavily strapped. When she went down in that last little moment we saw on our Harvey Norman replay, she just picked her wrist, like you could see her hand come up. And the wrist was quite painful. So hopefully things aren't too bad, but very rarely do you see a player turn to the umpire and say, I've got to come off.
What a take from Hannah Mundy. That was strength at its finest, that last step to secure possession.
Austin, a confident shot, no, an offload to Watson, and then the high ball into Kumwenda. Good, strong take from the Malawian goal shooter, and the Melbourne Vixens pushing their way towards this final quarter victory. Still plenty of time to unfold for a Queensland Firebirds, but they're going to have to be better than that.
Contact, goal attack.
Maloney driving through court, ignored. Austin with some depth. Mundy been good since she's come on. Front option used. So you can just see a little hesitation in the Vixens feed, and that is the nature of this particular Queensland Firebirds defensive unit.
Yeah, obviously it was creating some confusion. We actually saw in the timeout, Beck Woolley was actually demonstrating the way that she wanted the defenders to be confusing that space. So clearly that's having an effect, but the extra height of Carmo just causing a little bit of doubt for the Vixens feeders.
Not on that moment, was it, though? Kira Austin, a beautiful draw, finding Kumwenda. High ball in, Danelle Wallen. Well, direct to the post from the captain, Kim Revellion. That's how they've got to do this. They've got to score quickly. They've got to have confidence to be direct. And then they've got to find a way here defensively against the Vixens. Cross-court ball, swing, high ball in. So the same approach for the Melbourne Vixens. Moore.
Contact wing defence.
Good hands from Weston.
Contact centre. Yes.
Offload well timed. Moore to Wallam. So the Firebirds now getting their attack end ticking along. Vixens. Mundy covered the lead Rebellion did of Kumwenda again. Same place, same angle, over the top. Kumwenda 3 times in a row. Watson to Kumwenda.
And Kumwenda, just the fact that she's getting on the move a little bit, she's actually causing the defender to get some interest in some of that out of the circle play, freeing up that backspace.
Well, Lizzie Watson certainly leading the way for the Melbourne Vixens. 94.5 Nissan net points, 42 feeds to her name. Maddie Brown, she's impressive.
Yeah, she has been. And we talked about the disconnect in the Vixens attack, but they get a little bit confused there. But it's the timing of their ball speed and then the bringing in of the tempo, changing it up, using a ball. I think Mundy has provided a lot of spark in there for that attack end and just allow them to go back to their roles rather than everyone trying to do everything all at the one time.
Absolutely, Maddie. I agree with you there. It's awesome to see that Mundy has actually been able to hit the scoreboard. Hit the circle edge, get those feeds in. They have really gone back to what their roles were rather than running around a little bit.
So into the power 5. We just saw the bottom of screen just a moment ago. Our next game coming up, the New South Wales Derby, the Giants and the Swifts. That'll be at Ken Rosewell Arena straight after this game. And I tell you what, if you've ever seen the Giants and the Swifts go head-to-head, it wouldn't matter whether they're 1st or 8th on the ladder. I can't use this word any better. It will be a belter.
Contact, goalkeeper in the 1.
It's one of my favourite words. It's also a great song if you want to look it up.
Yes, it's there. No, it's not taken.
Joe Weston trying some cheeky little tricks there, but the umpire having none of it.
Important moment for the Queensland Firebirds. They need to find a Suncorp super shot to drop. More can't do it. Janelle Wallen closed down. So a good moment for the Melbourne Vixens. They really have put their foot down, haven't they? 18-10 in this fourth quarter. They have dominated the second half. It's been the pattern for them so far this season. A little slow out of the blocks. Come home like a steam train. Weston. Nice little bit of ballet footwork.
Beautiful little bounce pass around the body. Again, that connection between Liz Watson and Kumwenda.
There they go. Look at them. The Swifts getting ready. They love the Giants. The good news, how's this? At their home court, their change rooms are simply 1 metre apart. Imagine being a metre apart from one of your greatest rivals. Oh, it's enticing, that game. Can't wait.
Put the paper cups up to the wall, try and hear the strategies.
I'd try anything. Vixens ticking along nicely here, Kira Austin. Number 17 from her from 18 and 2 super shots to go with it. She's had a good day at the office. Had to spend a little bit of time on the bench. And came back with some impact. How's this lady, Liv Lewis? Can do nothing wrong at the moment.
She's come up with some absolute key turnovers for the Vixens.
Well, she's found a way not just to shut down Wallen, but confuse every feed that's come into it. Well, they're storming, aren't they, the Melbourne Vixens? 68 to 56. Can you believe they were 6 goals down at one point? They've shot 7 of the last 10. And they're putting on a show for the home side. 70 goals. No easy feat to hit the 70 mark. Janelle Wallen looked uncomfortable, took the step in. And some further work, won't it be, for the Queensland Firebirds head coach Beck Bully to do. 52 for Wallen, 49 for Kumwenda. And a terrific target, Kumwenda. Steadies under the post, Austin. And I think if ever there's a lesson about Suncorp Super Netball, Katie, it is never, ever write off the Melbourne Vixens in a game, ever.
They've been able to peg back some of these deficits. Definitely having that double-pronged super shot down that end as well, I think definitely helps. The fact that they can't camp on the one super shot shooter.
So away with ball, a super shot attempt from Janelle Wallen. It was a rushed one. She was confident early, Wallen. And that one just rolls out. She'll go again. Why wouldn't you? Same spot. And this time, a different result. It goes through. The Suncorp super shot drop to Wallen. It won't be enough, unlike last week. The scoreline, now 11 the difference. And the Melbourne Vixens go into their box formation and again create confusion and another turnover. And it has been the Vixens' defence that has brought them back into this game. Weston, along the sideline, finds Austin. Watson, terrific form from the captain today. Austin can't shoot it, but rebounds it. And slots in another one. It'll be a centre pass for the Melbourne Vixens, but it won't matter whether they score it or not. Because what they've proven is when you come to John Cain Arena and you play the Melbourne Vixens, they simply do not lose. An enormous second half return for the Melbourne Vixens, a 44-goal second half, and they win with a 72-60 result over the Queensland Firebirds.
because you can't rule out the Vixens at home. You are too strong here. What are you hoping to achieve before you head hopefully into another finals berth?
Yeah, I think more of what we saw in that last half. We've probably been taking a bit to find our stride, so we're going to have some more four-quarter performances, and you'll see the Vixens in the finals, so yeah.
Well, excellent work today, Liv. We love seeing you fly high and take those intercepts. Congratulations on a win today.
Thanks, Maddie. Thanks.
Very impressive day at the office for Olivia Lewis. Let's not forget the Melbourne Vixens did that victory without one of their starting 7 players in Kate Eddy. And we hope, fingers crossed, for the Vixens that she returns next week. They'll take on the West Coast Fever, who play tomorrow against the Sunshine Coast Lightning. So away through Melbourne Vixens town without Kate Eddy, it was impressive.
It really was, and obviously you saw kind of the 2 ways that they attempted to fill the hole that Kate Eddy has left. She does an absolute mountain of work for them. 1 on the shutdown and organising their structures out the front, but 2 in attack. So they've obviously got those 2 ways that they might shift their lineup, and I think the second half obviously was, much better, more clinical Vixens to be able to, and probably more the effect up the attack end, wasn't it, Sue?
Yeah, and I was just going to say, do you know what? You learn a lot about a team and a coach when you have an injury or a player is out with illness, because your hand gets forced, doesn't it? And Simone McInnes today had to go to what we might say a bit of a B plan or a C plan and really coach her way through to find victory. We've got some great shots unfolding here on screen. A lovely presentation going to Kira Austin, who last week, or the week before, wasn't it, 50 games she notched up. So since moving to the Melbourne Vixens, of course, formerly with the Giants. So congratulations to her. Gets to be presented with that in front of her home crowd. And of course, both those players on screen playing a pivotal role in turning the form around in this second half of the game and getting the Melbourne Vixens across the line. So the Melbourne Vixens, they get there in the end. Let's take a look at what it looks like when we get to the live ladder, because they were tinkering if they lost on staying outside the 4. And that at the moment moves them up into 3rd position, noting that the 3 sides sitting in the top 4 still need to play. The Lightning also, if they can get the win over the West Coast Fever tomorrow, can move in. So gosh, so much movement, and that's what we love about this ladder and this league, don't we, Katie?
I absolutely think that the draw between the Swifts and the Thunderbirds at the start of the year, those 2 points,
critical,
very, very handy for those 2 sides, who obviously the Swifts are sitting 4th there in that live ladder position, but those extra 2 points just edge them above some of the others on the similar points. So really, really interesting the way that that's affecting the live ladder now.
Katie, you said at the beginning of the game the Melbourne Vixens would win. I challenged you at halftime. You stayed true. You're happy with the outcome?
Obviously very happy with that outcome. I do take my Vixens hat off when I sit in this seat here, but yeah, obviously really happy for the Vixens girls and for my Vixens shooters to have pulled through.
All righty, well, don't forget, next coming up, the Giants will take on the Swifts. It will be at Ken Rosewell Arena, and I can't talk this game up anymore, and I simply mean because they are 2 sides who have great respect for each other off the court, but when they get on the court, they are the greatest of enemies. So the New South Wales derby coming your way. The big question, does Joe Harton line up? Well, you're going to have to wait and see. Right after the break, that'll be on Fox Netball.